10 Things You Never Thought About Africa. Africa is probably the most neglected and least known continent in the world. Mostly because many people associate it with poverty, famine, civil wars, low standards of living, and low life expectancy. However, they ignore the fact that Africa is one of the richest places in the world when it comes to natural beauty, culture and history. Also, Africa's the first continent in alphabetical order, and mankind started in Africa. While there are many things a person may not think about Africa, here are 10 of the most unusual things you never thought about the first continent. Number 1. Deserts. When it comes to the African landscape, most people think of hot places with jungles and big wild animals. But that's only one side of the continent. They ignore the fact that more than 50% of the continent consists of deserts and dry lands. In fact, the largest desert in the world is in Africa, the Sahara Desert. Africa also has other large deserts such as the Kalahari and Namibia Desert located in the southern part of the continent. On a side note, some scholars may say Antarctica and the Arctic are larger deserts, but we are not talking about frozen deserts. Number 2. Who said it doesn't snow in Africa? Yes, some places in Africa can get colder than you think, especially in the high mountains where snow is a common occurrence. In fact, there are many places where you can see snow, starting with the Atlas Mountains in the northwest part of the continent, followed by the high ranges in Ethiopia such as the Danakil Alps. Then we have the famous Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, which is the tallest mountain in Africa. Finally, we have the Cape Fold Mountains, the Drakensberg Range, and the Lesotho Highlands where snow falls regularly during the cold months. Number 3. Penguins and seals in Africa. We are not talking about zoos, but in nature. When it comes to penguins, most people associate them with the extremely cold South Pole in Antarctica. However, the southern part of Africa has a large population of African penguins, and fur seals in Namibia and South Africa. Number 4. Located in the center. Africa is the only continent in the world that is proportionally divided in half by the equator, having northern and southern hemispheres. Although not perfectly divided, no other continent has that privilege to be in the center stage of maps, yet many people easily ignore it. Just like the case of the elephant in the room. Number 5. More countries than any other continent. Currently there are 54 recognized sovereign states in Africa, with Ethiopia being the oldest nation while its neighbor, the Republic of South Sudan, is the newest one. With that said, it is sad that many people in the West cannot recall, or name more than 1 or 2 countries in Africa. Number 6. The Arabic is the most spoken language in Africa. When it comes to the Arabic language, most people only think of the countries in the Middle East. However, there are more Arabic speakers in Africa than the Middle East itself, with an estimated 150 million native speakers. Many others speak Arabic as a second language. Number 7. Islam is the most prevalent religion in Africa. Although it is arguable, it is estimated that 45% of Africans identify as Muslims, making it the most practiced religion in the continent. And now more than ever, Islam is growing in popularity in sub-Saharan countries where Christianity was previously majority. It is important to clarify that many people practice Islam and Christianity along with other traditional African religions. Number 8. Romans in Africa. Most people don't associate Africa with the Roman Empire. They forget that Romans ruled northern Africa for 460 years, from 146 BC to 314 AD. That's longer than the time Romans were in Britain. And yet when it comes to history, people think more about Romans in Britain. The best examples of Roman architecture outside Italy are located in Libya and Tunisia. Also, the name Africa remained such throughout the centuries thanks to the Romans. Number 9. Africa is in the most famous photo of Earth. The most famous image of Earth taken by NASA, named the Blue Marble, shows Africa in the center. Yet it is sad that most people can't recognize it. Once again, it's like the case of the elephant in the room. And number 10, the least expected one. Africa is a horse head. Some people say they can see a rabbit on the moon. Well, it turns out that Earth also has an animal. Some people say Africa looks like the head of a horse. They say South Africa is the mouth, Lake Victoria the eye, the Horn of Africa the ear, and Northern Africa the neck. They even say it's a green horse with a golden mane. Who knew? What other things people never think about Africa? Tell us in the comments below. We left out the size of Africa because many people already talk about it in many other videos. Thanks for watching.